We're at another Lake Norman Chamber Gala event. It would not be an interview night without having Jim Puckett here. Jim, thank you so much for being here, my friend.
Thanks. It's always a pleasure. I look forward to this every year.
I apologize. I know I pulled you away from the cold chicken and the salad you're going to have this evening. Thanks for giving me a couple of minutes.
We never have that anywhere else. It's an election year. I'm sure I'll catch up.
So let's talk a little bit about that. So what was life like outside of politics for last year? Tell me what that was like.
It's interesting. I actually got more done politically probably than when I was in office. Freed me up to do some things that I wanted to deal with. The I-77 is always an issue. The charter school movement within the North Mecklenburg, dealing with the now $110 million Major League Soccer piece that I'm there. So, I got out of office, but I didn't get out of the political arena. And hopefully in 2020, I'll get back in the political arena. So I'm running for election. I hope to be the first person elected, not reelected, but elected to the same office 3 times.
And so I know that this is not something we do, right? It's not our primary function. Tell people what it is you do for a living.
What I do for a living is I own a company called Electro Painters. We do electrostatic painting. We refinish manufacturing equipment on plant floors. We do a lot of work with architects. If you see buildings that have red windows or green windows, or like an AutoZone that has red window mullion. That's the type of thing we work with. We work with hospitals sometimes, refinishing things that you can't take out of the hospital. So if it's metal, it's got to be painted. It's got to look like new, but you can't drag it out somewhere and paint it off site. We go on site and paint it.
Last question, my friend. And we seem to see each other at these chamber events, right?
We do.
So I know the chamber is important to you. Can you talk a little bit about that, how the chamber is helpful, not only for the community, but for the businesses themselves?
Absolutely. The chamber, and this particular chamber, has gotten more and more active in the political arena, which is important. A lot of them don't, but they become the voice for the business community. I joined the chamber, I guess, 20 years ago, nearly not too long after Bill Russell showed up. And soon after I got in office. And one of the things that we've always been able to do is talk about how policy within Raleigh, within Mecklenburg County, and to a lesser degree the federal government, how businesses can interact with that and not be political, not be taking one side or another, but taking a business position. And so it's very important. And the Lake Norman Chamber does a wonderful job of that, mainly because the Charlotte Chamber, the old Charlotte Chamber, they've now kind of merged into another entity that they are, but there was always kind of, Charlotte was well represented, but the outlying areas were not necessarily, and the Lake Norman Chamber over the last few years has kind of said, hey, we're an economic powerhouse ourselves. We have our own issues, we have our own challenges outside of just what's happening in downtown Charlotte, and so it is very important that local businesses be a part of this and speak as one voice in front of not only elected officials, but together with themselves, and as we start to recruit other businesses and we try and grow this economic engine, because it isn't all just about Charlotte. It is about the areas around Charlotte also.
I know I said one question, but let me have one more. I know you as a wonderful gentleman, a man of good character, a great leader. What advice would you give somebody that is moving into or getting ready to get started in some sort of leadership role?
Well, one of the great places, oddly enough, is the chamber. The chamber will find a niche for you. It allows you to start to network. That's very important, that you kind of find out who the people are you need to connect with, who the people are that have the challenges and can tell you what the truth of the matter is. Get involved with your party. If you're a Democrat, get involved with the Democratic Party. If you're a Republican, get involved with the Republican Party. Run for local office. Become a town commissioner. That's a great place to start. But just get involved. It's great to get involved with elections. 2020 is going to be a massive election year, presidential, gubernatorial, U.S. Senate, down the line. So there are a lot of people who are looking for volunteers, who would love to get you into the political arena, and you can kind of get your feet wet and figure out exactly what's happening, and you can decide whether that's something you want to do or not. There are a lot of places you can go. You can run for office yourself, you can work for people that run for an office, or you can just be a volunteer.
And this is the year, and this is the town to be in.
This is the year, and this is the town to be in. The Republican National Convention will be here in August, so an awful lot going on, but North Mecklenburg has become its own political powerhouse also. We have a lot of influence in what happens in North Carolina now. Mecklenburg County represents 1/10 of the state of North Carolina. So Mecklenburg County itself has a lot to say about what happens statewide, and North Mecklenburg is becoming a big part of that.
Jim, thank you so much. You know I'm a big fan of yours, so I call you my political bulldog. Thank you so much, buddy.
It's
I
always
appreciate
a pleasure. Always fun.
Thank you.
Thanks.